in just a minute. Today also kicks off National Infant Immunization Week, and Dr. Beth Noward is here to shed some light on why vaccines are so important. Thank you for being here.
You're welcome.
You're a pediatrician with the Austin Diagnostic Clinic.
Yes,
so,
I am.
immunizations, I mean, they start at birth, basically, many of them, and then some come later on. Why are they so important?
Vaccines prevent diseases that can cause lots of illness and even death in children. And over the past 50 years, our infant vaccine program has not only prevented numerous deaths, but just increased the general health of children overall.
You think about vaccines that have been around for a very long time. Why are they still relevant today or important today?
Well, even though we have eliminated some diseases from some parts of the world, we don't have many diseases that we've eradicated totally. And some things like tetanus are always going to be around because the tetanus bacteria is in the dirt, and that's just something that all of us are going to come in contact with all of our lives.
It is the most important thing because parents have a lot on their plate. They've got a lot to think about. If they have a family doctor or a pediatrician that their child is already seeing, is that key? Because it's you know, them who are going to keep them kind of on track, likely.
Well, having a primary care doctor for your child is the best way to keep a handle on the overall health, whether it's teaching about vaccines or accident prevention or all the things that we can help children with. But vaccines we try to make as easy as possible. If a patient doesn't have a primary care doctor or they don't have any money to go to the doctor, there are numerous places where you can get your vaccines done.
Are there any health risks out there for infants receiving some vaccines? And there are some people who think that you shouldn't be immunized, if that's a word. I'm creating a word this morning. Immunized. See, I still can't say it. I'll leave that to you. But is it important to have it done, even though some people say that, you know, our body needs to basically fight itself?
Absolutely, it's important. You're always balancing the risk of getting a disease versus the risk of getting the vaccines. And vaccines do have, in general, minor complications. I mean, babies can run a fever, or children can have a sore arm or a sore leg. But most of these complications are very brief, very minor. And the rare things like someone getting a fever high enough to cause a seizure, it exists, but the risk of the vaccines are much safer than the risk of the disease themselves.
Is there a certain age once you hit this point that you don't have to worry about vaccines anymore? Because as an adult, I think I'm good to go.
I think a lot of adults do ignore their vaccines, but certainly tetanus is something that everyone should get every 10 years because you're always going to have exposure to the dirt. And there are certain vaccines that are specifically for seniors, things like the shingles vaccination or pneumonia vaccinations that people over 60 really need to talk to their doctors about.
And I know also some people traveling overseas have to get certain vaccines as well.
That's correct, and influenza is always an important vaccine.
Well, doctor, thank you so much for joining us this morning. Some very good information. We'll have this on our website, this interview, as well as some links to help people out.
You're welcome.
All right, let's get a check of the weather now with David.